Foreign and European Commission President proposes plans to beef up defense support for Ukraine. In sport, Super Eagles forward Ahmed Musa, 38 others make provisional squad against Rwanda in 2026 World Cup qualifier. Now the details. I am Taiwo Baruwa. The Lagos State government has launched the final phase of its pathway to malaria elimination and digitalization initiative aimed at protecting residents and enabling them to contribute effectively to the state's socio-economic growth and gross domestic product GDP. Speaking at the unveiling event in Victoria Island, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu emphasized the importance of testing before treatment as a critical step in malaria control. The initiative is funded by the Impact Project, an initiative of the federal government, and is designed to harness digital innovation, strengthen data transparency, and enhance public-private collaboration to combat malaria. Governor Sanwo-Olu commended key partners including the World Bank, World Health Organization, WHO, Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, and other healthcare stakeholders for their support in driving this groundbreaking project.
And so this vision, though ambitious, I believe is achievable because therefore all of us, government agencies, healthcare practitioners, healthcare providers, community leaders, development partners, and indeed all citizens to work together with an unwavering resolve. Success will not come overnight, but will be sustained effort and collaborative action we will bring.
Commissioner for Health Akin Abayomi stated that the state is leveraging technology to improve malaria diagnosis, reporting and case management. Abayomi said this approach ensures structured pathways for handling malaria-negative fevers, promoting the judicious use of anti-malaria drugs and antibiotics, and ultimately improving patient outcomes. On his part, Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Mohammed Ali Pate, who was represented by the Minister of State for Health, Isiaq Salako, praised Lagos for its pioneering effort in malaria elimination and urged stakeholders to sustain their commitment to achieve this goal. During the event, the governor announced the appointment of the Executive Secretary of Health Facilities Monitoring and Accreditation Agency, Abiola Idowu, as a permanent secretary. The Lagos State Ministry of Transportation has suspended the e-Calap system in the Lekki-Ekpe corridor based on the request of union leaders. In a statement, the Ministry of Transportation said it is suspending the e-Calap to allow the Nigeria Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, UNIPENG, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, and Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners, NARTO, to have further engagement with their members. The union leaders promised to ensure parking compliance with their members, while the ministry will enforce in the event of violation of the promise. The meeting was attended by the Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Oshiyemi, Permanent Secretary Olawale Musa, union leaders of NUPENG, IPMAN, and NATO. All parties agreed with the importance of the e-Calap system as the best solution for managing truck movement along the Lekki-Ekpe corridor. The Lagos State government has emphasized the importance of collaboration and data-driven governance in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals aimed at creating sustainable world by 2030. The special advisor to the governor on SDGs, Oreoluwa Fini, stated this as Lagos plays host to the Southwest Regional Consultation on Nigeria's 2025 Voluntary National Review, VNR, on sustainable development was the theme, advancing sustainable, inclusive and science evidence-based solution for 2030 agenda for sustainable development and its sustainable development goals for leaving no one behind. Finney highlighted the significance of the 2025 VNR as a crucial milestone in the journey towards the 2030 agenda and the need for multi-stakeholder involvement in driving sustainable development at both national and subnational levels.
With its high population and economic viability, Lagos State has consistently been a driving force in achieving the SDGs, leveraging evidence-based decision-making to drive impact. The Lagos State Voluntary Local Review conducted in 2023 is a testament to this commitment. The state policies have been more in line with international development targets. The theme's agenda is an SDG agenda.
In her keynote address, Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, Adejoke Oreloku Adefolere, explained that Nigeria has presented 2 VNRs in 2017 and 2020, with plans in place to present the third one this year, along with 38 other countries. Hence, the need to consult widely with key stakeholders across the key segment of society. Oreloku Adefolere, who was represented by her Senior Technical Advisor, Bala Yunusa, said the consultation will review Nigeria SDGs progress report of 2024 through the lenses of institutional frameworks, progress on the 17 SDGs, lessons learned, implementation challenges, and key recommendations.
Following this flag off in Lagos, a series of consultations will take place in Uyo for the South-South, Enugu for the Southeast, Gombe for the Northeast, Kaduna for the Northwest, and Abuja FCT for the North Central. We will conclude by hosting a national validation workshop in Abuja. Incidentally, this year's voluntary national review is coming at a time world leaders adopted the Pact for the Future during the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly.
Participants drawn from Lagos, Ogun, Osun, Ondo, Oyo, and Ekiti State underscored the importance of such engagement to enable stakeholders stay updated on the implementation and progress of the SDGs ahead of the 2030 targets.
A lot of things we have been doing since, the center was set up about 2 years ago in 2022, to move forward the implementation of the SDG in Nigeria. We have done a lot of things. For example, we've had 2 conferences the last 2 years.
There is no way we can under-capture the importance and relevance of stakeholders' engagement. If we're going to have a robust voluntary national review that will be presenting the interest of the Nigerians, it is essential that we do such a consultation forum that we're having right now. It will take into account all critical stakeholders to know the area of challenges, what they have done, and how to adequately present the country globally.
Those were stakeholders at the Southwest Regional Consultation on Nigeria's 2025 Voluntary National Review, that's a VNR, on sustainable development. Now to the rest of the stories. The House of Representatives has called on the federal government to strengthen waste management strategies to curb the rising threat of environmental pollution and its associated health risks across the country. And this followed the adoption of a motion sponsored by lawmaker representing Burutu Federal Constituency, Delta State, Julius Pundi, during plenary. Pundi lamented the growing challenges Nigerians face in handling waste disposal, particularly in the oil and gas sector and manufacturing industries. He noted that ineffective waste management had continued to endanger lives, particularly in communities where industrial activities take place. The House mandated its Committee on Environment to conduct a nationwide survey to assess the extent of environmental pollution and evaluate the level of compliance with existing waste management regulations. Also, the House of Representatives has called on the federal government to urgently strengthen security in Zamfara State, particularly in communities grappling with persistent attacks by armed bandits. This resolution followed a motion sponsored by the lawmaker representing Shinkafi Zolmi Federal Constituency, Hassan Shinkafi, during plenary. Shinkafi decries the deteriorating security situation in Shinkafi and Zolmi local government areas, where escalating attacks have led to widespread killings, maiming, and kidnappings. He noted that despite efforts by the state government, insecurity persists, leaving over 40 villages deserted as residents flee for safety. The House also mandated the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction to provide relief materials to victims affected by the violence in the constituency. To commemorate World Obesity Day, WOD, the Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, CAPA, has renewed its call for comprehensive healthy food policies to strengthen local diets and tackle Nigeria's rising obesity and the other burden of non-communicable diseases, NCDs. CAPA highlighted the alarming data on the global obesity scourge, saying it reinforced its advocacy for urgent measures to discourage Nigerians from excessively consuming sugary drinks, which are a risk factor for overweight and obesity. The organization said these measures include raising the tax imposed on sugar-sweetened beverages, SSB tax, from the current 10 naira to 130 naira per litre, or by any rate that is not less than 20% of the product's retail price. CAPA's executive director, Kimbodi Oluwafemi, noted that CAPA aligned with the WOD theme of changing systems, healthier lives, which puts the onus on systems that influence the drivers of obesity and related chronic diseases to act. He urged the government at all levels to pay attention to the worrisome practice of food corporations flooding the market and grooming Nigerians with unhealthy, ultra-processed food products targeted at children and other classes of the country's teeming youth population. In foreign news, European Union President Ursula von der Leyen has proposed a 5-part plan to mobilize about 800 billion euros to beef up Europe's defense and provide immediate military support to Ukraine after the United States suspended aid. Von der Leyen said in a letter presenting the plan to 27 European Union leaders that a new era is upon the Union 2 days before a summit aimed at cementing joint action on Ukraine and Europe's long-term security begins in Brussels. European leaders are under huge pressure to increase defense spending as U.S. President Donald Trump's return to power has delivered a rude wake-up call that they cannot blindly rely on Washington. The joint borrowing would go towards building pan-European capability domains like air and missile defense, artillery systems, missiles and ammunition, drones and anti-drone systems, or to address other needs from cyber to military mobility. In sport now, veteran football forward Mohamed Musa has been called up. Veteran forward Mohamed Musa has been called up to the Super Eagles squad for the 2026 World Cup qualifiers against Rwanda and Zimbabwe, returning to the team after almost a year of absence. The Kano Pillars player was named in the 39-man provisional squad. Musa, who is Nigeria's highest goal scorer at the World Cup and the team's captain, did not feature for the Super Eagles when they clinched silver at the Africa Cup of Nations AFCON in 2024. Coyote Bankole of Remo Stars, Rangers Ifeanyi Onyebochi, Papa Daniel Mustafa of Niger Tornadoes and Musa were the home-based players invited by the Malian Gaffer. And that's it on the news at 6. But just before we go, do not drink and drive. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms. X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs live on YouTube at Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu Administration Lagos State Health Management Agency LASHMA inaugurated new centers at Ikorodu, Ikoton and Ekwe? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. The Lagos State government has launched the final phase of its pathway to malaria pre-elimination and digitalization initiative aimed at protecting residents and enabling them to contribute effectively to the state's socio-economic growth and gross domestic product (GDP). The House of Representatives has called on the federal government to strengthen waste management strategies to curb the rising threat of environmental pollution and its associated health risks across the country. We also told you that European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has proposed a 5-part plan to mobilize about 800 billion euros to beef up Europe's defense and provide immediate military support to Ukraine after the United States suspended aid. Finally, sport veteran forward Hamed Musa has been called up to the Super Eagles squad for the 2026 World Cup qualifiers against Rwanda and Zimbabwe, returning to the team after almost a year of absence. For contact with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Sadiq Yusuf. I am Taiwo Baruwa. Thank you for listening. Good evening.